Hi, I'm Katerina.
And I'm Helena.
And we're here from MillaMia.
Hi, I'm Debbie from Debbie Bliss.
I think it's got to be Christmas because your birthday's awful.
Exactly.
Yeah, Christmas.
Why is your birthday awful?
I've got a terrible birthday. It's the 6th of January. It's just awful because everyone's still
No
celebrating.
one wants to celebrate.
Everyone's detoxing or going back to school, so it's terrible.
I'm going to go Christmas because even though my birthday's a week before Christmas and everybody's quite jaded by then. And I get people saying things like, oh, what about a combined birthday Christmas present? I go, yeah, that's fine. I love Christmas so much that when my son was born 34 years ago, at the end of April, I had Phil Spector's Christmas hits on the tape, as it was then, while I was in labour.
Love it. I think for us, well, I know what I think. Fair Isle.
Well, yes.
It's so Nordic.
But then I also love cables, sculptural, amazing cables, really modern, new, fresh, big time.
I think Fair Isle.
Okay. Well, our jury's out. We like both, unfortunately. Do it like this.
Yeah, so I'm going to do this. Also very good for that energy surge that I'm having at the moment as well. I love a modern twist on a Fair Isle, which is a collection that's just come out, which is available now, called Modern Heritage, which is like bright colours, sort of updating the traditional Fair Isle. But I also really love a cable too and texture. I can't make my mind up. I'm just going to have to fan.
Wooden. I'm afraid I'm a bit of a snob. I really like a nice wooden needle. I think even, my latest work is on wooden needles.
Yeah, wooden. Got to be wooden with me
Sorry.
as well. Love a wooden needle.
Although, if you just want something cheap and cheerful, can't go wrong with a bit of metal every now and then.
Clickety clack.
Oh no, I'm going to have to do that again. Sorry. No, it'll still be wooden for me.
Yeah.
Well, there is something about being an early riser when you're ahead of the game. You feel like you're fresh and winning the day. That's quite nice. Although we do like to party still a bit, so.
When was the last time you partied?
Christmas party.
I'd say night owl because I feel that, I'm obsessed with Netflix, but also a night owl because I think that's when I get most ideas and that's when I can be knitting and swatching and drawing. It's just that sometimes the next morning they're not quite as good as I thought they were at 12 o'clock the night before.
I can't help but really like old traditions, or there's something about, the way things were always done that's quite comforting and that's really nice. And, Christmas knitting, for instance, is one of them where you think, actually, we produced, remember those really classic Christmas stockings that we designed? And there's something that's very traditional about them, but also really stylish and just timeless,
I think
which
they're
I
quite
love.
comforting. I think some traditions kind of bring a lot of comfort, and there's something quite nice about that.
And what I love about knitting is that idea of being part of something that's being passed down and that goes back for years and years. I love the idea of that. I love the idea that you're creating something within a wonderful craft heritage. So I definitely go old traditions.
So I'm feeling a bit chunky at the moment. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? I suppose maybe I'm looking for an instant fix and something that knits up really quickly.
Well, that's where we launched the Super Chunky, in a
Yes.
sense that our yarns had always been very fine. And even if you remember when we did the Cecilia here, we did that using the yarn held double because we only had one yarn line at that time.
Yeah.
And then now, the luxury of having an Aran, but then now the Super Chunky was just amazing when we did that first sample and you thought, we could knit a scarf in 45 minutes, actually. That, if you think about the buzz that you get from knitting, for me, that buzz of completion actually was what really got me hooked when I started knitting again. I started knitting again, Debbie, with one of your patterns. That's what got me knitting again, because you were the only one for me who had stylish patterns for kids when my daughter was born, 13, 14 years ago.
I really love chunky yarns and what they do. Again, it's the aesthetic of it, because they make these lovely sort of generous sweaters and relaxing into cozy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On the other hand, because you have to knit them on such big needles, I find it's really
hard
sort
work.
of, It's like on broomstick needles. I do find that quite difficult. So I love the idea of it, prefer it if somebody else is knitting it, not me. So I'd have to go baby yarns because I love baby cashmerino.
I'm summer.
I'm summer.
Don't like being cold.
Yeah, and I love the more sunlight. Everything feels a bit more positive. Although there is something really nice about knitting snuggly things.
I say winter for knitting, you'd want winter, don't you? But for life,
general
you want
life,
summer.
I want summer.
I'm winter, but what I'd really like most of all is to have more daylight, but with cold weather. Because even in the summer, I have what we call at home in the family Mr. Blankie. And even in the summer, I'm afraid I do actually have to go on the sofa and cuddle up underneath. Yeah, I'm all for a bit of warmth and unnecessary warmth, actually, when I think about it.
For us at MillaMia, it's got to be bright and colourful, don't you think? I mean, that was really what we started with in a sense, and our first palette was all about playing with colour, but particularly bright colours and putting them together. And even if I think about, something like this little jumper that we did recently in the MillaMia Naturally Soft Merino, just the way the colours popped together.
Gorgeous colours.
And actually, this is where you really see the stitch definition, I think, as well. Back to what you were saying about baby yarns, that it, it really does hold really nicely.
I would go soothing neutrals. I love colour, so when I'm doing, say, on this collection, the colours are much brighter because I knew that they meant to be, but also because I know that I need to get out of my aesthetic
your comfort
palette.
zone.
I know,
gorgeous colours.
I like it. So even if I'm designing for babies, I'll still be going for duck eggs and chocolate brown and greys and those kind of colours because that's what I love. That's what I love seeing children in. So I can appreciate bright and colourful, but I'm not sure that I get it as bright as I should do.
But I think that's what people come to you for because they know that your soothing neutrals are the ones that just, they work. They've got that vintagey almost vibe to them and they're really warm and toning. And to me, they just feel almost quintessentially British in a way. Like you really capture that, I think, in your colour palettes. I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. But.
Travel to new shores. Let's go get some inspiration. Let's see the world. You see something you just never expected to see, and I love that. I love having absolutely no idea what you're going to encounter, but being excited. And I always find I get so much more energy after I've travelled as well, and inspiration. So I've definitely travelled.
I'll stick with you with that one.
So I'm going to say travel to new shores, but to take my friends, family and dogs with me. So then that combines both.
That's a good answer.
I think new skills. I think something really exciting happens when you learn something new, a new technique, a new skill, and then you start to think, I mean, for me, that's really the exciting part of the design process, is you swatch something new or you develop a new texture and you start to think about how you can apply it. So it's almost like gathering together all these ingredients that you're going to put into the design and then thinking about how you're going to execute it. And so for me, new skills.
I think new skills, because I still get excited by that. I was on the tube last night and I was able to show somebody, my friend with me, who was holding her iPhone up to her face like that you could actually enlarge the text, which I've been doing for some time. I now, on my iPhone, get about 4 words to one line.
And even, I think, from my knitting sense, right? So I was someone who I loved garter stitch. I'm a continental knitter, being Scandinavian. And so for me, that's why I loved your garter stitch little cardigan for baby Debbie. But garter stitch is so easy to do. And then, but then to push myself and to say, actually, cables, funny enough, are always scary to me. Ferrule was fine because that's really easy in continental knitting. But then we had this. I remember, Elena, when you designed this one. This is called the Love scarf. It was in our first adult collection in the Aran yarn. And I just loved it. I loved the kind of simplicity of the cable, but then just this slight contrast colour. And a little confession, this is actually my work in progress, which you'll have seen for the last year, probably, of me carrying it around. And I've learned how to do that. And this is in theory for my husband's 50th birthday, which is coming surprisingly soon. So I'm going to have to keep knitting. But to learn and actually to get confident with it, and always, I think always with knitting, It's only ever a knit and a purl combination in some sense, so you don't have to be as worried as sometimes one might be when trying a new skill. So that
also,
was my
what's
thing.
nice about that, because I have seen it come up at meetings and things over the last few months, it's already very well loved, but also that you can do that, can't you? It's not like where you don't have to take like a sewing machine around with you or something. You just pick it up and have few more rows on the tube or something like that. I love it.
So we've been babbling on about what we think is right. What about you? Are you feral? Are you cable? Why don't you put something in the comments?
Can't wait to hear from you.